Everything you've ever been told to trust will eventually fail you. But there's one thing you've never been taught to trust: life itself. Systems rise and collapse, beliefs contradict each other, jobs disappear, relationships shift. Even your own thoughts, the ones that feel so solid in one moment, unravel in the next. But beneath all this, one truth has never abandoned you. You are alive right now. You're breathing, you're feeling, you're experiencing. Life has carried you through every collapse, every rebirth, and every contradiction. But strangely, it is the one force we resist the most, and this resistance is the very root of our suffering. We are trained from the beginning to place trust outside ourselves, in teachers, in authorities, in the laws of culture, and the promises of progress. These things offer comfort, but they are fragile shelters, and when they crumble, fear rushes in. We call the unknown dangerous, as if uncertainty itself were an enemy. But what if the very uncertainty we dread is actually the highest sign of life's intelligence? If life can create galaxies, carve rivers, heal wounds, and birth consciousness itself, why do we assume it cannot be trusted with the path of our own existence? This is the mystery we're stepping into, a recognition both simple and profound. Life is not against you, and it never has been. What appears as chaos may in fact be the very current carrying you where you need to go. Trusting life is not about blind faith in stories or systems. It is about listening to what is undeniably here and allowing it to reveal itself in its own way. As always, these ideas are not offered as doctrine, but as invitations. What matters most is not what you hear in my words, but what you come to know through your own direct experience. If these kinds of inquiries speak to you, please subscribe and stay with us. Because by the end of this video, you may begin to see uncertainty not as an enemy, but as the very way life is guiding you. And you'll understand why life is the only thing you can truly trust, and why that changes everything. From the moment you were born, you were handed a map of what could and could not be trusted. Parents, teachers, religions, governments, experts, all claimed authority over the truth about life and reality. You were taught to believe in systems, to place security in jobs, to expect permanence in relationships, and to let your sense of self be shaped by history and culture. These promises can feel solid for a while. They offer a temporary comfort, a sense that the world has order and that someone knows the way. But sooner or later they fracture. The school that shaped you quickly becomes outdated. The beliefs you once clung to often contradict themselves. The people you depended on shift, leave, or reveal their own fragility. Even the sciences that once seemed absolute are rewritten with each new discovery. Everything external, no matter how stable it appears, eventually proves impermanent. This is why so many live with an undercurrent of anxiety, because they're trusting what cannot last. You can probably recall moments when the ground beneath you gave way. The job you thought was so secure dissolved, the relationship you thought would last forever ended, or the identity you built unraveled in a single unexpected turn. Each time, it feels like betrayal. But perhaps what betrayed you was never life itself, only the illusion that anything outside you could be permanent. Direct experience tells a different story. Long before you had names for things, before you could explain or define, there was breath. There was sensation, there was awareness quietly holding everything. These are not secondhand truths, they are not dependent on culture, authority, or belief. You don't need to be convinced of them. They are simply undeniable. The great teachings of non-duality point to this same recognition. What is truly real cannot be borrowed, repeated, or handed down. It is what you encounter directly right here, the body that breathes without your command, the pulse in your chest that never asked your permission to continue, the simple fact that you are aware right now. Everything else comes and goes, but this presence, this life, has remained through every loss and change. To see this clearly is to shift where trust belongs, not in systems that can collapse, not in authorities that contradict, not in beliefs that fracture under pressure, but in life itself, which has never once abandoned you. Life is not just happening to you, it is happening through you in ways far more intelligent than the mind could ever design. Consider a seed. Left in the soil, it holds no blueprint you can see, no manual you can read. Yet within it, life already knows how to split open, push through darkness, and reach for light. The same hidden intelligence shapes the branches of trees, the migration of birds, the balance of ecosystems. Left undisturbed, life finds its order. Even when storms tear through forests or fires consume them, renewal begins almost immediately. Life does not collapse into chaos, it reorganizes. That same intelligence is alive in your body. When you are cut, blood rushes to clot, cells knit together, tissue regenerates. This choreography happens without your control, without needing your belief. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of your nervous system is a testament to an intelligence so constant we forget to notice it. We claim ownership over our lives, yet the truth is humbling. Most of what keeps you alive is beyond your control. You don't direct the rivers of blood in your veins, or tell the lungs when to expand. Life itself orchestrates your survival, moment after moment. Philosophers and mystics have been pointing to this mystery for centuries. Taoism speaks of the Tao, the natural way, which unfolds without effort. It is not something you can master or bend to your will. It is the rhythm already pulsing through existence. Vedanic wisdom describes cycles of creation, preservation, and dissolution, reminding us that what appears and disappears is guided by a force beyond human comprehension. These traditions whisper what the body and the earth already demonstrate. Life doesn't need to be controlled to be trusted. What makes this even more astonishing is that life is not something separate, operating somewhere outside you. The intelligence that guides the galaxies is the same intelligence that beats your heart. The order you see in rivers, clouds, and forests is not different from the order that allows you to hear these words right now. To trust life, then, is not to surrender to some external authority. It is to recognize yourself as inseparable from this intelligence. Pause for a moment and feel your breath. Notice how it moves without asking. That simplicity is enough to dismantle the illusion that life is against you. Because if life were not trustworthy, you would not be here at all. Every moment of your existence is proof that it has carried you this far, not perfectly, not without struggle, but with an order so profound it escapes the grasp of certainty. But if life is so intelligent, why do we resist it? The answer is woven into the way the human mind evolved. For thousands of years, survival depended on anticipating danger. A rustle in the grass was treated as a predator, not the wind. The unknown was never neutral. It was a threat waiting to strike. That bias is still alive within us. Psychologists call it the tendency to expect the worst. The brain leans toward fear because fear once kept us alive. But what protected our ancestors now keeps us trapped. The job interview becomes a story of certain rejection before it even begins. The new relationship is imagined ending in heartbreak before love has a chance to grow. The ache in the body is spun into a diagnosis of doom. Our minds create entire futures filled with catastrophe, long before life itself has spoken. And in doing so, we mistrust the very intelligence that sustains us. Non-dual teachings point to the root of this fear, the belief in a separate self. As long as you see yourself as isolated from life, you will assume the unknown is against you. The I imagines itself standing apart, fragile and exposed, surrounded by forces that could destroy it at any moment. But this is an illusion. The same intelligence that grows forests and heals wounds is not separate from you. It is you. What we call fear is often the friction between the self we imagine and the life that is actually carrying us. Reflect for a moment. How many of your fears have truly come to pass? And when endings did arrive, how many times did life eventually reshape them into something you could not have predicted? The irony is striking. Life has carried you through every single moment until now, yet fear convinces you it cannot be trusted with the next one. To see this clearly is not to deny fear, but to recognize it as a distortion. It is the brain's outdated attempt to protect you, not an oracle of what is to come. And when you remember that, a new possibility opens. Uncertainty is no longer a threat, but the very space where life reveals its intelligence. If life is intelligent, why does it take away what we love? Why do relationships end, forests burn, bodies age, and stars collapse? To the mind, destruction feels like betrayal, as though life were cruel or indifferent. But look closer and you'll see a different story. What we call destruction is transformation in disguise. Waves rise and fall, returning to the ocean that gave them form. The forest fire that blackens the earth clears the way for seeds long waiting in silence, their shells cracked open by heat. Even death, feared as the final annihilation, is part of a cycle in which nothing is lost, only reshaped. Energy moves, forms dissolve, and life reorganizes itself again and again. The endings that seem merciless are the same forces that allow new beginnings to exist at all. This paradox is not abstract. It lives in your own experience. Think of the heartbreaks that left you shattered, only to carve space for a deeper love or a truer self to emerge. Think of the losses that seemed unbearable, yet opened paths you never would have chosen otherwise. At the time, it felt like collapse. Looking back, you can see it as transformation. The very intelligence that created you does not cling to form. It trusts itself enough to let things dissolve, knowing they are never truly gone. Philosophers and mystics have long pointed here. Taoism reminds us that the Tao gives birth and takes away, not out of malice, but out of balance. Vedantic wisdom describes cycles of creation, maintenance, and dissolution, all three equally sacred. Non-duality whispers that what dies was never separate from the whole to begin with. The wave is not destroyed when it crashes, it was always the ocean returning to itself. When we see destruction as an enemy, we resist life itself. We cling, we fight, we demand permanence where none exists. But when we begin to see endings as transitions, trust becomes possible. It does not make loss painless, grief still comes. But beneath the grief is an awareness. Life has not betrayed you. It has simply reshaped itself into a form you do not yet recognize. The paradox, then, is not that life destroys. It is that life transforms so completely we mistake renewal for cruelty. To trust life is to recognize this deeper rhythm, one in which nothing is ever truly lost. If fear is the habit of expecting the worst, trust is the choice to expect the best, not as naive optimism, but as alignment with the intelligence already guiding you. Life does not promise a path without hardship, but it does promise that each moment carries the seeds of possibility. When we meet uncertainty with suspicion, we close the door before those seeds can sprout. When we meet it with openness, we step into creation itself. Think of the pause between breaths. In that small silence, anything could happen. Fear fills it with catastrophe. Trust fills it with potential. To expect the best is not to demand specific outcomes, but to recognize that life's intelligence is always at work even when you cannot see its design. A door closing may feel like rejection, but in time it reveals itself as protection or redirection. A period of emptiness may feel like punishment, yet it often becomes the fertile ground for something unexpected to grow. This shift is not about positive thinking layered over fear. It is about seeing life clearly enough to recognize that it has never abandoned you. Even when pain has come, even when endings have broken you open, life has carried you through. To expect the best is to stand in that memory and allow it to inform the present. It is a posture of collaboration with life rather than suspicion of it. There's a practice for this, simple yet powerful. When fear rises, pause. Notice the breath moving through you, the pulse that does not ask for your control. In that moment, reframe uncertainty as creation. Ask silently, what is life showing me right now? Instead of imagining collapse, let yourself sense the possibility that is trying to take shape. This practice does not erase challenges, but it changes your stance. You are no longer fighting life, but meeting it. Try an experiment. For 1 week, expect life to be on your side, not by forcing yourself to smile or denying difficulty, but by leaning into the possibility that intelligence is at work in every situation. Watch how your perception shifts, how opportunities appear where you once saw only dead ends. Notice how the body softens when trust replaces suspicion. The truth is, trust is not blind faith, it is recognition. It is the willingness to see that life, for all its uncertainty, has never failed to move forward, to carry you here, to keep beating in your chest. To expect the best is to live in harmony with that truth, and to finally let life reveal its intelligence, not as theory, but as your own experience. Trusting life does not mean expecting it to conform to your plans. It means recognizing that you are never separate from the intelligence shaping it all. The same mystery that grows forests and births stars is the force breathing in you right now. To resist that is to resist yourself. To trust it is to come home. Life has never failed you. It has broken you open, yes. It has stripped away illusions, yes. But each time you are still here, carried forward by something greater than your control. Trust is not blind surrender. It is seeing clearly that you have always been sustained, even when you thought you were lost. And before we close, I want to honor the spark for this video. I was scrolling on YouTube when I came across a channel by this really awesome guy named Saja Fendel. His teachings resonated with me deeply, and I know they will with you too. This very video was inspired by one of his. I highly recommend you to go check out his channel. Our world truly needs more of what he is bringing. And if you do, show him some love. Maybe leave a comment saying, "Coming from beyond reality," so he knows how far his work is reaching. You'll find the link to his channel in the description. He has also created an amazing free community which I'm part of. If you watched until now, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. It helps this community grow and keeps the conversation alive. Thanks for watching.